I know that Naomi would not run away from home. I done looked underneath the bed, I done looked in the closet, I've looked everywhere. I was like, well, maybe she's just hiding, planning to go sit with you in the house. He's like, no, mama, she's not here.
She's got to be somewhere in some water and some wood somewhere, but I didn't think it was going to be like.
Pulled up and smelled something. I thought it was a hog. I walked back up the rail just a little bit.
Yeah.
It wasn't a hog.
When 12-year-old Naomi Jones woke up on the morning of May 31st, 2017, in her family's modest apartment in Pensacola, Florida, it was like any other day. Naomi was a bright, vivacious girl with dreams as big as her heart. She had just completed 6th grade and was looking forward to the summer break. But the ordinary morning quickly turned extraordinary and tragic when her world was shattered by an unimaginable evil. Naomi lived with her mother, Shanta Clemens, and her 2 younger brothers in a close-knit community. That morning, Shanta had left for work, entrusting Naomi with the responsibility of looking after her siblings. Naomi was a caring and responsible sister, often helping out around the house and watching over her brothers when her mother was away. It was a role she took seriously, and her mother had full confidence in her.
I was in the bathroom there. My sister had walked outside, and my brother told me Naomi's coming. And I went outside to look, and then I called my mom.
What did you use to call her?
My next door neighbor's phone.
Were there any other phones in the house?
My sister's phone.
Tell me how come Naomi didn't take her phone?
I think it was because she wasn't going anywhere for it. She takes her phone everywhere with her.
The family scoured the neighborhood, calling out Naomi's name, hoping she had wandered off to play and would soon return with a sheepish smile. But as minutes turned into agonizing hours, the sinking feeling in Shanta's chest grew heavier. Naomi was not the type of child to wander far from home without letting someone know. Something was terribly wrong.
How long have you been with Robert?
About 2 years.
About 2 years? Okay. Let's go back to, obviously this has been in the news for a week now about the little girl at your apartment complex, Naomi. What kind of girl was she? Was she friendly? Was she kind of...
She seemed like she was kind of friendly, just like a little girl. She would just, do like little dances on the back patio if I was out washing before my washer broke.
Does Robert live with you?
No.
So, explain to me how that works out, because he's up in Bruton at work and he also keeps the place up there too.
Mm-hmm.
Like averaging a week, how many times do you stay the night at your house?
He always stays Friday and Saturday night because he's off. But
Just depending on his work schedule, he'll come. And if you're at work, does he stay there without you sometimes?
Mm-hmm.
As the hours dragged into days, hope gave way to despair. Naomi's disappearance was tearing the community apart, and the fear of what might have happened to her gripped everyone's hearts. Her family was in a state of disbelief. How could a young girl disappear without a trace in broad daylight? The police, however, were relentless in their efforts. They combed through surveillance footage, conducted door-to-door inquiries, and meticulously pieced together Naomi's last known movements. But for 5 long days, there was no sign of Naomi and no answers to the questions that haunted everyone who knew her. Then, on June 5th, 2017, the search came to a grim conclusion. A group of fishermen, casting their lines in the waters of 8 Mile Creek, made a gruesome discovery. There, partially submerged in the murky water, was the lifeless body of Naomi Jones. The discovery sent shockwaves through the community. The hope that had sustained so many over the past few days was brutally snuffed out, replaced by an overwhelming sense of grief and anger.
So, both started calling 911. We both knew what we had to do and just sat right there and waited. We didn't want to move, but at the initial, before we even saw what was happening, we both leaned over the rail to look at the water.
Yeah.
And caught
Down the steps as I put my boots in the back seat, and I was getting ready to get into the car.
We'll take that. Yeah.
Is it alright if I just stand up in the room, stretch my legs and stuff like that?
Yeah, he's gonna come in and get your buckles in a second. But yeah, you can get up and stretch your legs.
And I'm all back forward.
What's that? Buckles? Well, we're just gonna go over some of the stuff. The other investigator talked to you earlier this morning. I had a chance to read over everything, and I had a couple questions I didn't get to ask you because I was busy.
Okay.
All right.
The Pensacola Police Department, along with the FBI, intensified their investigation. They began to piece together Naomi's final hours, looking for any clues that could lead them to her killer. It wasn't long before their attention turned to a man who had been lurking in the shadows of the community, a man with a dark and disturbing past. Robert Howard, a 38-year-old convicted sex offender, had been living in a nearby apartment complex. His criminal record was extensive and terrifying, including charges of sexual assault and violence. Howard was well known to law enforcement, and his presence in the area was a red flag that could not be ignored. Surveillance footage from the day of Naomi's disappearance placed Howard near the creek where her body was found, and his cell phone data corroborated his presence at the scene. The evidence was damning, but the investigators needed more. They needed to hear Howard's account of what happened.
And they show exactly which route you went. You can't deny it. It's your phone number. It's your phone number and your phone records. You could keep denying it, or you can tell me what really happened and give your story of what happened. She's a cute girl. She looks a little older. Maybe you guys had something and...
How can we have something? I've never been around the child.
How do you explain, though? How do you explain that your phone is showing that you're going in those directions?
If you say this is showing, if you say you got my car video and you say this is showing all of this, let me see it. Because there's no way that, none of that.
You want to see it?
There's no way.
All right, I'll show you.
What's that?
A Nissan Altima.
Okay, and what is that supposed to mean?
That's your car.
How's it? Okay, so how are you just gonna tell me that's my car? Out of?
It's your car. Because your phone puts you in that exact spot that that car is at the exact time that that car is on that video.
But the detectives knew better. They knew they were dealing with a man who had spent a lifetime hiding his true nature, a predator who had finally been caught. The pressure mounted, and eventually, Howard began to crack.
You're sitting here deny, you don't care, you just put it like you just deny everything and lie because we have proof that you're lying.
But this child has never been in my car.
To me, a 12-year-old baby is dead, and you're sitting here lying through the whole thing about where you were for some reason.
I've never had her.
Must have stashed her somewhere.
I've never had her. She's never been with me.
She has. You killed her.
No, I did not.
What'd you do then?
I didn't do anything.
You were that baby.
Okay. I can't argue with what you think or how you feel about it. I can just.
She just turned 12. She's 11 years old.
I did not touch that child. I did not.
Robert, desperately.
Blood they found on the side of the vehicle.
Only on the side of it.
Yes.
What if I blood on the side of it?
On the passenger side, in front of the rear tire.
But the investigators knew the truth. The autopsy revealed that Naomi had been strangled with a force that only an adult could exert. The physical evidence was undeniable, and it contradicted Howard's pathetic attempt to paint himself as a victim of circumstance.
I don't know for sure. I didn't have her.
Did she cry?
I didn't have her.
Did she try to fight? I heard she was a fighter.
I never had her, so I don't know. You asking me things that
Did she have a chance to fight?
I don't know. I have no idea. You asking me things that I don't know nothing about. She wasn't with me. I didn't have her, so I don't know what she could have did, fought, cry,
She cried
whatever.
for her mama?
I have no idea.
Did she beg you to stop?
I don't know what you're talking about because she was not with me. She was not with me.
As the case against Robert Howard solidified, the wheels of justice turned quickly. The evidence was overwhelming, and Howard's own confession sealed his fate. On July 30th, 2018, just over a year after Naomi's murder, Howard was found guilty of first-degree murder and was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The courtroom was filled with an outpouring of emotion. Shanta Clemens, Naomi's mother, spoke directly to Howard during the sentencing, her voice trembling with grief and anger. Shanta:
But we have enough at this time to go ahead and charge him with murder. That's tough. That's really tough because you have your own family to worry about.
I'm just really sad for you and your little boy because you don't have anything to do with this, and your sweet little boy doesn't have anything to do with this. I'm so sorry.
Naomi Jones's story is a stark reminder of the dangers that lurk in the world, even in places where we feel safest. Her death left an indelible mark on her community, serving as both a cautionary tale and a rallying cry for justice. The residents of Pensacola, shaken by the tragedy, vowed to protect their children and watch out for one another. Naomi's legacy lives on in the hearts of those who loved her and in the continued efforts to keep children safe from harm. And as for Robert Howard, he will spend the rest of his life behind bars, stripped of the freedom he so callously took from Naomi. His name will be forgotten, but Naomi's will be remembered, a symbol of innocence stolen and the enduring strength of a community united in the face of unspeakable evil.